Friday, and thanks for tuning into RadioFreeRhinecliff.org and this show in particular. Correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight with Lillian Lin. Hello, Lillian. Thanks for coming. How's it going?
Norm. Great. Happy Friday.
Lillian chose to put the headphones on, which I don't use. I mean, and Jen was saying, like, some people become fascinated with the sound of their voice, which I think happens to me. I want to sound like Barry White. And you said, and I just love this, your voice is not nearly as grating as your son says it is.
I don't think so, but who knows?
Yeah.
After 60 minutes.
After what?
After 60 minutes of this, you might.
Oh, maybe it'll be super grating.
Yeah.
And how old is your son?
He's about to turn 14 in about 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah.
So classic teenager age.
Yes.
And does he bust your chops? Like, oh, you're so annoying. Specifically your voice?
Not as much as you would think. We're still pretty tight, which is kind of nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He grew up with me, half with his dad, big family there. And then, for the last 10 years, it's been me and him. So we're quite tight. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just where's his dad?
His dad is in Pine Plains, 30 minutes away. So
Okay.
he's there half the time. But then the other half when he's with me is just me and him.
Oh,
It's been
I
like
see.
me and him for 10 years. So
Oh, that's
kinda nice.
amazing.
It
What a
is.
treat.
Yeah,
Now-
I think so.
I've
Yeah.
got a kid. My youngest was with me, and then he's got two big sisters. And when they were out of the house, it was just the two of us
Yeah.
for like 4 years. And
Yeah.
it was so nice to have that one-on-one with the kid.
It is.
So I'm happy you're
is.
enjoying it. What is he into?
He was doing fencing for a couple of years and chess, and now he's into crew, really into crew, very much into, he knows already he wants to go to medical school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, either to be a doctor or possibly biotech, but something medicine related, which he told me was because he's grown up seeing me in and out of the hospital a lot.
Seeing you in and out of the
Yeah.
hospital a lot.
Yeah, so.
And what has he seen over the years of you
Yikes.
going in and out for?
Oh, gosh. I mean, you name it, surgeries, bowel obstructions. I had 150-day stint at Sloan Kettering. So he's seen me, IV all, numbed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Things like that. So he's seen me in the hospital. I've probably been hospitalized over 100 times.
Over what?
100 times in my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness. And I know what I think is the latest thing.
Yeah.
Which was you got a new kidney.
I got a new battery.
A new
Yeah.
battery, which is not a small procedure.
No, it was my 5th surgery, but
You-
it's probably
you're-
my 4th major
Your
surgery.
5th surgery
Yes.
for that one.
No, for other things, yeah. But the kidney transplant was necessary I had stage 4 neuroblastoma. I wasn't born with it, but I was diagnosed when I was 6 months old. So I had chemo, radiation, surgery, 2 surgeries, and I was 6 months old till I was 3.5 years old. So I cured the cancer was gone as of 3.5 years old, but the doctors told my parents I would have like a 5% chance of making it, so it was pretty severe.
Right.
And all the other hospitalizations are really from side effects of the treatments, namely chemo and radiation. Because I was a baby, so it kind of fried all my all my organs and
Right.
Yeah.
And so the kidney, which failed, I guess, at some
Yep.
point. And were you on dialysis?
Not yet. I had one kidney at 0% and one kidney at 12%. So I was close to dialysis.
Right. EGADS. And that the kidney failure was a result of your pediatric cancer treatments,
The radiation. Yep.
the radiation.
Yep.
And what does that do? What are the mechanics? What does that do to a kidney?
Well, I think it just fries it. So basically, I don't think I've had full kidney function since I was in my teens. And now I'm at to like between 60 and 70% with my new kidney.
60 and 70.
60 to 70.
Which is
Yeah.
more than the old kidney.
Way more,
More
yeah.
than your current,
Oh, yeah.
the one you came with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you have the one that you came with, and,
Yeah.
and what percentage function does that have?
My last working kidney, my second working kidney, is at probably the day of the surgery was under 12%.
Okay, but did you get one or two new kidneys?
I got one, but they leave
Okay.
them all in there. So I have 3.
I had no idea.
I know. I learned so many things.
Why
I
did
know.
they do
wow,
that?
We just got into it. There was like no warm up. I love
Well,
we
you
just jumped
brought
in.
it.
I know.
You brought it up. Your kid wants to be a doctor because he's seen all this stuff.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
But do you know why they leave the third one in there? This is fascinating. to
I
me.
know. I think it could cause more complications if they take it out.
Right.
So I have one at 0, one at below 12%, and the new one, and all together they make up, like it varies week to week, but it's between 60 and 70% kidney function.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's the threshold?
Like the highest it could go.
What's the highest it could go?
Well, actually, between the one that's still working and the new one, I got as high as like 83% right after the surgery. which is amazing because it was a deceased donor and it could take weeks to kick in. And mine kicked in on the first day, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a miracle. I had 2 close friends willing to donate kidneys to me, or give in my name so I could get bumped on the list. And I ended up getting a call out of the blue on April 30th for a deceased donor that was a great match for me. So nobody needed to go into surgery for me.
Right.
And then I got a deceased anonymous donor that was a great match. So I rushed down to the hospital that night and had the surgery the next morning.
Wait, you said,
Yeah.
did you say deceased donor?
Yep.
And then an anonymous donor?
He's I don't know if it's he or she actually.
Oh, but
they're anonymous to me.
I
Yep,
see, the
yep.
deceased person.
Correct.
May they rest in peace. And
Yes.
may their kidney have a fabulous long life.
I think it's already having a fabulous life.
With you.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm at a happy hour disguised as a talk show. I mean, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And as is the
Exactly.
tradition here, you brought a cocktail and end of the week adult beverage for us.
yeah.
to enjoy. What are we drinking here?
We're drinking Hugo Spritz. I started drinking them this summer instead of Aperol Spritz. And I think it's like kind of taking over. It's got elderflower liqueur instead of Aperol.
The Saint
Yeah,
Germain.
Yep. It's got soda water, I think it's seltzer, lime, mint, and Prosecco.
Well, it sure is delicious.
It's delicious.
Thanks for
Yeah,
bringing it
it
in.
goes down easy.
So when you said you'd come in, thanks again for coming in.
Welcome.
I told you, as I told most people, it's not obligatory, but lots of people bring a cocktail for us to enjoy on air.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, maybe you can't drink because, you pretty much just got a new
I
kidney.
know. Yeah. I can drink in moderation.
Okay.
This is considered moderation. Yeah.
It's
I'll
good.
like one drink.
So far. And are there things that you can't do?
Yeah. So I'm on anti-rejection drugs forever. So
Forever and
yeah,
ever.
forever. So I've lowered immunity forever. So basically, I can't eat raw oysters or raw sushi, which is a bummer. I love those 2 things, but it's okay. I can eat cooked sushi. I can eat like cooked fried oysters.
Right.
Yeah, things like that. But I can't eat anything raw or rare. Food poisoning is really severe and risky when you have lowered immunity.
Huh.
Yeah, so I can't do that. And I just have to be careful, like kind of light COVID alert always.
Kind of what?
Light COVID alert always. Like I wear masks and always wear a mask on a plane. I do that anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I was kind of sick for the last year or so anyway, just because I had such low kidney function. So I
Right.
wasn't really drinking for the last year
Okay.
before my transplant. And I was always wearing masks on planes and trains.
And talk about, if you would, how the transplant procedure works. There's like a whole thing with kidneys and kidney banks, and people
Yeah.
can donate one because you really only need one, I guess.
Yeah. You only need one if that one is healthy. Yeah.
How does all that work?
It's really amazing. So basically, I was always told to get a living donor. It's like a better prognosis and better outcome.
Right.
To have a living donor, because like a deceased organ is kind of thought of as like a dead car battery and takes time to restart sometimes.
Right.
Although mine kicked in on day 1, which is amazing. So I had 2 different friends offer to go under surgery and donate kidneys to me. One was supposed to be a direct match for me, and I'd planned this 2.5 years ago. We had scheduled the surgery for December 19th of this last year, and they did like a last minute cross match 3 weeks before. And for some reason they still don't know, my antibody level had spiked against her. So I would definitely have rejected her kidney. So they canceled the surgery, which was at the time pretty devastating because I was down to like 15% function. But then we found out the next week. I mean, I'm so convinced that everything happens for a reason. I'm not religious, but I'm definitely very spiritual. And I've had a lot of like crazy things happen in my life that there's really no explanation for. But basically my surgery was canceled, my transplant. I was down to 15%. I was on a lot of medication. And so I was obviously kind of devastated by that. But then we found out a week later that my mom's cancer had come back, her breast cancer. So
Eesh.
she had to go under surgery and radiation. So it happened. I moved her up here almost 3 years ago. She lives 2 blocks from me, and she's pretty dependent on me. She's just turned 87. So I think that was the universe saying now is not the right time. And then, that first donor kind of fell away because her schedule got busy. And then the second donor, who's a local in Rhinebeck, stepped forward and said, I can do it now. And so you don't have to wait.
A local person in Rhinebeck?
Yes.
Stepped forward and said, well, I will donate.
Yep. She knew she couldn't be a match to me, different blood types.
So you weren't a match, but this person gave a kidney into this system.
She was willing to, and she got cleared by
Right.
NYU. So we were both cleared in
Right.
February.
So had she given the
Yes.
kidney into the system, how does that work?
So it's like a matching thing. So there's I think they told me 20,000 people around the country that are matches, like me and her. If you have someone willing to give a kidney but is not a match for you.
Right.
So it's almost like a matching service. So they put you in this big system and they try to match you up with other people. And she was going to be easy to match with somebody because people wait years on the wait list.
Okay.
I'm the one that's difficult, as usual. I'm the one that's difficult to match. So because of my antibodies. So they're waiting to match me first because I knew it would be very easy to match her. So they're waiting to match me. And while we were waiting, and meanwhile, my kidney function is getting worse and worse, and I'm on more medication and this, that, the other. Out of the blue, because when you get on the list for the surgery, which I was already on, they automatically put you on the deceased donor list also.
Okay.
So I was already on the deceased donor list, even though I had a live donor. So I was really waiting for the live donor to come through because I thought I had been told always that was the way to go with a live donor. With my past medical history, it's kind of complicated. So, but then a deceased donor came out of the blue, and I had a quick call with my surgeon, and I was really nervous because I was like, oh, I was always told to get a live donor, and he basically told me, you could wait up to a year. You're really hard to match, and you're going to be on dialysis in much worse condition for the surgery, and we're unlikely to find as good of a match as this one through a
Right.
live donor. And this is a really healthy person. It's a great match for you. If you were my daughter, I'd say do it. And I was like, okay, got to do it then.
I'm getting teary-eyed.
It was
It's
crazy.
So
It was out of
beautiful.
the blue. It was out of the blue.
And so what
Yeah.
do you know about the person the live donor?
Very little, actually. They do it on purpose, believe it or not, for racism. So people, like the family might, that's what they
Oh,
told me.
jeez.
So the family might say, oh, we don't want to give this an organ to this type of person. Or even the recipient can be like, oh, I don't want an organ from this type of person,
Right.
So all I know is that they were Northeast Corridor, died of trauma, so it's likely a car accident.
Right.
Slightly younger than me, 160 pounds, which is about 50% more than me. And so I think I got an extra strong battery, honestly.
Uh-huh.
And in really good health. And most importantly, a great match for me.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's male or female. I don't know the race.
Right.
I wrote a letter to the family, and then it's up to them to reach out to me, which I hope they do. So I hope I can meet them.
So, and where did you send that letter to this?
To the organization, yeah.
Uh-huh.
To the,
Which is called what?
You know what? I don't know. There's several, and I
Right.
don't know because I passed it through NYU, Langone. Yeah,
Okay.
where I had my transplant.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they take it to the organization who sends it to the family of
Yes.
the deceased donor.
Yes,
And if the family wants to get in touch, which I think I would,
I think so.
if my kid or dad or
Yeah.
brother or whatever
Yeah,
did that, I think I might like to be in touch.
totally. I would hope so. Like my mom wants to meet them, and my
Right.
son wants to meet them. You know what I mean? I'd love to meet them.
Right.
So, so this is my PSA to check off organ donor on your driver's license.
Yeah.
It's really important.
But I didn't know
Yeah.
I didn't know there was an option
There
where you
is,
could say
yeah.
where you could say I'll donate my organ, but I don't want it to go to a white person.
No,
I
I
don't want it
can't do
to
that.
go to a woman. Which I mean, you said sometimes donors specify I don't want it to go to somebody of a certain race or
Yeah.
ethnicity or whatever.
I think these organizations, at least the one that I got my kidney from, they purposely tell you very little, and I think the family knew very little. I wrote a letter to them, and they gave me guidelines.
Right.
No last name. Don't mention the hospital. Don't mention the city. You can mention the state you live in, but not the city, because they
Wow.
don't want them to be able to look up me either. Because people Google, especially for the donor, the deceased
Right.
donor. So, yeah.
So
yeah.
you just signed it with your first name, or
Yeah. I said I had a son. I said I was a realtor. I mean, it wasn't enough to identify me.
right?
Yeah, I don't think.
Well, and yeah, and there's other Lillian Lins out there.
You know what? There are. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Which is unsettling.
On Facebook,
I
even.
know. I know. I was and a lot of them worked in finance, which is kind of funny.
A lot of work in finance,
uh-huh.
which you did once upon a time.
15 years. Yeah.
And what did you do in finance?
I worked it's funny. My dream after I graduated from college, my first job I got while I was waitressing. I was a cocktail waitress.
Where?
On campus.
Where?
Cutter's Grand Cafe. There's one in LA. I was going to school in Philly at Drexel, and I got a job
Which is where you went to school, Drexel.
Yeah, to supplement my non-existent income. I became a cocktail waitress, which I loved. I made great money.
What did
It
you
was
love
awesome.
about being a cocktail waitress?
Talking to people.
Right.
People get happy. You're serving them booze. They tip
Right.
you. my friends were working at the Gap for like minimum wage. I was bringing home like $300 a night in cash. Like what's wrong? And I got my first job. I got my first job in finance there. Yeah. So
You got your first job in finance through being a cocktail waitress?
I waited on 2 guys and a woman. They worked at Kidder Peabody, which is really dating me because it doesn't even exist anymore. But anyway, I was about like a month away from graduation. I was going to move down to the beach.
And what were you studying?
Accounting, which is not the right job for me, clearly. But my mom was like, "Oh, you can always get a job as an accountant." I was like, "Okay," but I sucked at it.
I couldn't see. I couldn't see you being like that.
Oh my God, no way.
So you were saying you were about to move down to the beach?
Yeah, and quote unquote study for my CPA.
Oh, right.
Living at the beach. I mean, that was never going to happen. I was like, I'll be a cocktail waitress at the shore. I'll study for my CPA. My mom's like, that's a terrible idea. But anyway, I was a month from graduation, the bar like catered to like a lot of business people because it's right across the street from the Philadelphia Stock Exchange.
Okay.
So, in Center City. So basically, I waited on 2 guys and a woman, and the guy was like, "What are you up to? Are you in college?" And I said, "I'm graduating in like a month." And would you have a job? I said, "No, I'm going to move down the shore, study for my CPA." And even he was like, "That's a terrible idea. You're never going to pass the test."
Right.
But he just said, "My assistant just quit." I'm looking for an assistant. And I was like, "Sure you are." Like, that's not the first time.
Sure you
a
are,
man has
right.
offered me a job here. Okay.
Also.
Yeah, right.
Also, I got some nice paintings up in
I
my
know,
love
exactly.
when you come see.
And so I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And the woman was like, "No, seriously, he's serious. His assistant just quit." And then, so she's like, "Do you have a resume?" And I was like, "No, but I'll make one." I mean, when you're in college, like you don't have a resume. So anyway, whatever it was, I got hired, and I worked for Kidder Peabody for like the high net worth brokers, like retail brokers. So like covering like individuals. And the most memorable thing about that job, I think, was I did it for 2 years, but I knew I always wanted to, in Philly, I knew I always wanted to move to New York City. And so I did that. I was like just watching, movies about being on trading floors and all the action.
Right.
And I was like, I want to work on a trading floor, which is insane. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like super chaos.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do that. So that's what I focused on. I got my, I passed the test and I interviewed.
Which is the series 7?
I did the series 7 to start.
Right.
And series 7 and 63. And then when I did work later in derivatives, I did the series 6, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to Kidder Peabody. This
Yeah.
guy hires you as his assistant who
Yeah.
had just quit.
Yeah.
But did you stay as an assistant and become assistant to the whole group?
So each of the high net worth brokers had their own assistant.
Okay.
So it was very this is back in when did I graduate from college? 92? It's a long time ago. Yeah, so basically it was in the 90s. Yeah, so there was no Me Too. Oh my gosh, I would be fully retired by now if those Me Too things were around. That's the most memorable part of that job for me. Like
The sexual harassment?
Yes, yes, exactly. No, seriously, it's crazy.
Right.
'Cause, yeah, there was none of that Me Too stuff around, like it would not be tolerated today.
Such as, how'd you get harassed? Just
Such
people
as my boss, the guy that I worked for, took me to a strip joint for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, got me a lap dance.
That's
I
not
think
good.
And I remember I would tell my mom, I didn't want to tell her outright the things that were happening, but I would be like, yeah, it's kind of weird because there's all these men, and so all the brokers are men, so they had their own offices. All the assistants were women. We all sat in the middle. We had like little dividers between our desks, what they called it like the bullpen. So we would answer their phones and get their lunch and like take messages. And because I wasn't licensed at the time, I got my license by the time I left. But it was very, it was a glorified secretary essentially.
But you saw enough and you liked what they were doing. You thought I wouldn't mind.
No, I didn't want to do what they were doing.
Okay.
I wanted to work on a trading floor in New York
Okay.
City. This is just like a stepping stone.
So you got your license and
Yeah.
moved to New York City.
I did, yeah.
Did you have a job when you moved there?
I interviewed for a job, and it was funny because I knew I wanted to work in New York City on a trading floor, and I had scored an interview through a headhunter at First Boston, now Credit Suisse, and I remember sitting outside the fixed income trading floor in the waiting room, and the woman had announced me, and the guy completely forgot because it's so chaotic, and I sat out there for 3 hours. I'd taken the train up from Philly, and I was like, they're just testing me. They're just testing me. Meanwhile, he completely forgot about me. But anyway, and I could see from the lobby the trading floor. And now it's largely electronic, but it was a madhouse. There's people standing up and screaming and waving their arms and cursing, and there's tons of computers, and there's just noises and phones ringing off the hook. And I was like, I want to do that. This is amazing. And then this girl my age.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. No. I was like, put me right there in the center.
Right.
So basically, I was sitting there because I was there for 3 hours. And basically, this girl who I became friends with later was my age. She comes running out of the trading floor, bawling her eyes out. because someone probably screamed at her, which happened quite often. So she she was heading to the bathroom, bawling her eyes out. So I was like a little like, uh-oh, but then I was like, whatever. And then this other girl that I became really good friends with, I ended up working in her group. She saw me out there, for a couple hours because she would leave to get lunch and then come back and go to the bathroom. And she's like, are you waiting for somebody? And I was like, yeah, I'm waiting for so-and-so. And she's like, oh, that's who I work for. And it turns out, thank God she came out and said something because I would have been sitting out there forever. Anyway, that was my first job in New York City on a trading floor.
So did so-and-so finally come out and get you? Did you interview with so-and-so?
Yeah, I did. I got the job. And
what was the job?
So basically, my first job there was like, back in this time, I feel like they gave all, you really had to have an MBA. I did not have an MBA. So basically, I was the assistant to an assistant. I was an assistant's assistant. So my first job, and I just worked my way up and became I worked on the fixed income trading desk in the money market group, and they had just started a electronic trading system. And so I worked on that, but it was pretty basic. I kind of learned.
You say the desk, but is that on the floor?
Yeah, trading desk. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it was like no privacy. You're
So
sitting right
you
next
were
to each other.
there doing the thing that you wanted to do.
I was, and it was fun. It was great.
I love that.
It was great. I love it. I loved it. And again, it's largely electronic now.
Right.
So there's not the noise and the yelling that it used to be.
Right.
But it was like, I loved it. So the thing I loved the most, I was thinking about this because I haven't thought about this in so long. I haven't done it since like 2008. But the things I loved is like, you really were at the center of the world. You know what I mean? Like, because New York was sort of like, the flagship offices that I worked at were
Right.
like, first it was Credit Suisse and then it was Goldman Sachs on the trading floor in New York City. That's like where everything kind of generates. And we were in an income producing group because I was in sales. But it was amazing because there was an economic strategist, economist guy. I never forget, his name was Matt. He was probably 6'4", 6'5". So whenever we'd have economic data released, which could be weekly, once a month, quarterly, like GDP or PPI, like all these, unemployment. It was always on Friday morning, sometimes Thursday, always at 8:30 in the morning. And again, the trading floor is always crazy. There's TVs with CNBC. There's like dozens of phone lines ringing, people standing up, yelling, screaming. When an economic number was about to be released, it was quiet. Like 8:28 in the morning, it would just get silent, totally silent. Everyone's waiting for the number to come out. And people are, betting either way, whether the number's up or down or wherever the economy's going. It would be totally silent. 8:30 would hit. Matt and Alexi would stand up and scream, PPI is down, and all of a sudden the whole floor would like erupt and like all this noise, people calling, people screaming. It was great. It was like just so much activity and energy, adrenaline, like a lot of adrenaline.
And so how long did you do that?
I did that for 10 years at Credit Suisse. They sent me to London for over a year, which was an incredible experience. And then I got hired away from to Goldman Sachs, and then I worked there for 4 years, maybe 4.5 years.
And were you on the floor?
I was on the floor at
Goldman
Goldman
Sachs?
too. Yep. So basically, I was fixed income at Credit Suisse, and I was equities at Goldman. Yep. But I did derivatives at Goldman. So I did the same thing, helping them build this in-house proprietary trading system. So most of my clients were hedge funds, some money managers, but I did it for derivative products.
Just amazing. And did you pick up extra schooling and training and education along the way?
Nope.
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 You just learned it all on the job.
Yeah. There was a lot of, trial by fire, But it's like anything. Like, it's not really fake it till you make it, because if you fake it and you make a mistake. I did have one big trading error that was like $50,000. It was a futures thing. But that's nothing for an error, honestly.
And what kind of an error was it?
So when I called up to execute, futures trade, it was natural gas, 8 contracts. But, with a future, it's levered. So it probably represents 800 barrels of gas, natural gas.
Right.
And the way he worded it was confusing to me. So I think that I mixed up the buy-sell because I use bid or buy. Sometimes bid actually means, it's kind of confusing, sell. So anyway, and it was happening so quick. It happened so quickly, and it's not something I usually did. And we didn't catch the error till the end of the day. So people check their trades at the end of the day because you're busy during the day. But when they're reconciling, they do it at the end of the day. And of course, we had a discrepancy, which is why all the conversations on the trading floor are taped, because they have to, go back to the tape. And basically, I'd done the transaction the wrong way. And again, it's a levered product because it was a derivative, and it was $50,000. There's an error account for things like that on the trading desks. So we've had multiples of that for errors, but yeah.
Error count.
Error count.
And do they happen every day?
I'm sure within a big firm for sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that's why they reconcile at the end of every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And so did you get a stern talking to, or, were you afraid for your job, or?
No, because it wasn't actually my typical job. I sat on the execution desk, but it wasn't. It was just really busy. Something maybe like a number come out or something, and we had 12 lines, and they were all ringing off the hook. So they're just like, pick it up, do something, pick it up. So yeah,
Right.
It wasn't my typical job to execute trades. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So nobody gave you a hard time
No.
because you weren't supposed to be doing that anyway.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting. So you did that 10 years. How did you get to London?
Oh, I was covering someone's pregnancy leave. It was great. But then she took like the longest amount possible and then never came back. So I got to stay there for about a year and a half, which is amazing because on the trading floor there, it's all international. So it's like the Scandi desk with like Norwegian in Stockholm and then there's like the Latin American desk. And so I worked with people from all over Europe, which is amazing. It was
That
great.
must have been a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast. And every weekend I would go somewhere, because you can fly anywhere. Like
And
from
you were
London.
young and I'm guessing single.
Young and single. And, they're just throwing money at you at the time to go, paying for my apartment. And, I sublet my apartment in New York City. I had a great time.
Where was your apartment in London?
I had 2 apartments. One was a corporate apartment. It was in Soho, which is not as hip as it sounds here, as a Soho here. It was like the theater district, And then I ended up moving. It was very corporate and not in a very fun neighborhood, but it was a really nice apartment. And then I moved to Notting Hill, which is where a lot of expats live. And yeah, I had a great time. It was awesome.
Did you consider staying there?
I wanted to stay, but then my boss got pushed out. And then the new person that took over made me come home, which is a big bummer. Yeah, but I just had a great time. Yeah.
So you came home, and
Yeah.
how much longer did you stay? Was it Goldman Sachs at this point?
That was Credit Suisse. That was 10 years. I was at Goldman for 4.5. And the real reason I left there was right before I was 40 was because, Goldman was a whole nother level. Like, I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad it's on my resume. I
Right.
don't know that it has a cachet that it used to. Back then it did. And I worked with probably the smartest people I ever met.
Right.
Highly competitive, like even internally, which I didn't love. I'm much more of a team, whatever. And it was, I feel like they like to pit people against each other to get the best kind of performance,
Right.
But it was, anyone that can do really well there and hang in there, because I know people that have been there for 20 plus years, I have a lot of respect for. Very high performing people.
And then when did you leave that world?
I left when I was 39, yeah, because I was like, I was married, I was trying to have a child.
Okay.
I had gone through like multiple rounds of IVF.
And was your husband in that world as well?
He was. He was a client of mine. He worked at a hedge fund. Yeah,
no way.
He worked at a hedge fund. But I was working all the time, It's like, where else am I going to, I feel like I was at work all the time.
Yeah.
So he worked at a hedge fund. And he was my client.
Wait,
Yeah.
so if he's your client, you met probably on the phone first?
We did. I was covering another colleague. They
Making
had a
trades
meeting with
you're
him.
not supposed to make.
I know, it's so funny, but like, yeah, we had some pretty funny stories. From
So
back
you're
in that.
picking up the phone for a colleague.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's-
he sent me in to do a presentation because
Oh.
we would like show these electronic, proprietary systems that we were selling. So I would go in and do presentations at hedge funds and portfolio, talk to portfolio managers, and so I was covering a meeting, and so I met with him. Yeah, and that's how I. Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Not really. He is 8 years younger. And I remember thinking, oh, he's a really nice guy. He's not like most of the single guys that I meet in finance. And I was like, I got to set you up with somebody. And then I was like, I don't know anyone that young. And then I was like, why don't I date him? Why not?
I love that. I love that thought process.
Yeah.
And so you had that thought, and then what? You said, hey, why don't we meet for a drink?
Yeah. We were friends. We were hanging out. He was like
Okay.
my client. But then I made the decision in my mind. I was like, I'm going to date this guy. And then we went out one Sunday, and it was like the date that never ended. I don't even know if you knew it was a date, but I thought it was. But, it started with like brunch and then walking around the village, and then we went to go see a movie, and then, dinner. It was like all day. And then finally I was like, are you going to kiss me? And he was like, I didn't know. You're so friendly to everybody. I was like, oh my God.
You're so friendly to everybody?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
was
what he
like,
said?
Wow. Yeah, geez.
I love that. Good for you. That sounds like you had a plan.
I had a plan. It went well for 12 years until it didn't. But yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. And you got a kid out of the deal.
Oh yeah, no, I don't have no regrets about my marriage. It was great. Yeah,
Right.
it was great. I was super happy for a long time.
Right.
And and I got my kid. That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And which I understand, that was not without some medical intervention as
No,
well.
I had multiple rounds of IVF and then ended up having an egg donor. And I always knew I needed a surrogate because of the surgeries and the radiation I had.
Because
Yeah.
of the surgery, the radiation
Oh, yeah.
you'd had when you were a young
Yes.
kid.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I know. Yeah.
So you got a surrogate. How does that happen? How do you
An
choose?
agency. It's
Oh,
like
God.
it's like a day. I know. Nothing I've done like that's meaningful to me has been without a major work.
Right.
Whatever. It's okay. It's worthwhile. But so I had we had a it's kind of an overwhelming thing, but I think we met the right woman. And so people are like, aren't you nervous she's going to drink and smoke? And the fact is you have no control. You just have to kind of be comfortable with the fact that you have no control over somebody and what they're going to eat and drink or not.
So they have like notebooks with pictures of women in them or something, and you're like, oh, she looks good, or not her.
Yeah,
So like
kind of.
like Bumble for
I know,
for
I know.
surrogates.
Yeah, they only send you one person at a time. The first person, I can't remember why we didn't like her, but for some reason we didn't, and we passed on her. And then the second one, I was like, oh, like I like her. She seems interesting.
The second one you met.
We didn't meet first, so it's a whole process. They send you the profile, and you look through, and then if you're interested, you have a phone call, and then
So you only saw 2 profiles?
yeah, and I picked the second one. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. She had 3 kids of her own, and she was healthy. 17 years younger than me. She was really young and just really healthy and loved being pregnant. And when we first met them, we met her husband. We met her family actually. And they're really sweet. And her husband has said, I feel a little nervous about this. I don't know how I feel. And I was like, oh no.
She had not done that before.
She had not done that before. She had not been a surrogate before.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and she was local. You said you were living in New York City.
No, she was from Vermont.
Oh.
Yeah. So I would go up and visit. Yeah. Yeah. So I was there for all the big, because I had stopped working at that time.
Right.
So basically I had gone on a couple volunteer trips overseas. And then, but then I was really focusing on, it took me 6 years. I really wanted to have a baby. So
Right.
then, she lived in Vermont. So I would go up and I was there for the first heartbeat and there to find out what the sex was. She ended up having to have a C-section. She'd never had surgery. And of course, my son, flipped. It was breech. So she had to have a C-section, first and probably only surgery she's ever had. So it was amazing because she said, I knew they'd only allow one family member in the room and she had never had surgery. So I had assumed her husband. And she had said, we talked about it and we feel like this is your baby and you should be there. So I got to be there.
Oh my
And
God.
I know, it was really cute.
Love that. Are you still in touch with them?
You know what? We fell out of touch.
Right.
She was, I hadn't planned for that to happen. I was sending her holiday cards, but I kind of feel like if she's not getting in touch with me, maybe she was very good at staying detached, if that makes any sense. Like she wanted to leave the hospital as soon as possible. And I was like, should I send you pictures? And she was like, if you want. Like, I think she was like, I'm helping you. Obviously, they're getting compensated, but the amount they're getting compensated versus the risk and the amount of work they do, it's not about the money. I mean, I think in very few cases is it about the money. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think they genuinely want to help people.
And
yeah.
So, Sweet, about how much does it cost if I may ask? You don't have to
Oh
answer.
gosh, I mean, it's over 6 figures for sure, all in.
Right.
Yeah, what we did, just because I had multiple rounds of IVF, and then, we had an egg donor, and then we had and it's illegal. It may not still be illegal, but it wasn't when we did it. It was illegal in New York.
It was illegal?
Yeah, surrogacy. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, so we had to do. It's like an antiquated law that's related to prostitution. So anything we did had to be out of New York State.
Right.
So basically, my clinic was in Connecticut. I had to switch clinics to Connecticut. The egg donor was from California. The surrogate was from Vermont. And then so everything happened out of New York State. And then
Right.
she had the baby in Vermont. We were both there. And then we had to stay in Vermont until they changed from her name to my name on the birth certificate. Right? Because officially she's the one giving birth, so she's on the every state is different, but we had to hire a lawyer in Vermont,
So they put her name on the birth certificate. And then
Originally.
when can the change happen?
Well, it depends on the state, but they did it within like a day, which is
Right.
great. Yeah. Yeah. So then we drove home, and I think maybe on the 3rd day after he was born.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And is your son interested in meeting this person?
Not really, because she doesn't really keep in touch with us.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought that I wanted to do it again pretty quickly. And then we ended up splitting up, so it didn't happen.
Oh.
But she said she would have done it again for us, if we wanted to do it. I know, which is pretty amazing.
And
Yeah.
could you have gone to the same egg donor?
Well, yes. So basically, we had 8 fertilized embryos.
Okay.
And obviously they were in really good quality because the egg donor was very young also. And so it was, I had nothing to do with it. So basically the egg donor, my ex-husband's sperm, then a separate surrogate.
Right.
Yeah, because I obviously wanted an Asian egg donor and our surrogate was white. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
It's amazing. I know, it's like a miracle. I've had a couple medical miracles, I have to say. Yeah.
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 Well, this one, it's just a miracle. Human birth is a miracle anyway.
Yeah.
Getting this kidney match is a miracle. What else? What other medical miracles have?
My cancer. Honestly, I had a 5% chance of making it, and I'm here.
Right.
That's incredible.
Right.
And then another surgery I had was a car accident in Taiwan. It was a fatal car accident. My older sister passed away. I was 11. She was 13. My head went through a window, and I was in the hospital with a head injury for like 30 days.
Oh my God.
In Taiwan. Yeah. So I've had a couple. I've had a couple. Real swing and could have been really bad.
So
Could have been really bad.
So
yeah.
you said you're not religious, but you're spiritual.
Yeah.
And what do you make, if anything, of all these miracles, as you describe them, that have come to your life?
I'll tell you, like, what I've learned. I have to say, you can plan as much as you want. It doesn't matter. I think the universe will do whatever that it wants to do.
Yeah.
I've planned so many things that ended up not happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Or if you even plan for something and then it feels like things are not looking good, and that like my kidney situation, and then you never just know, out of the blue, it just changes. Everything changes.
Right.
And then I also think, and I think I get this from my mom, but I feel like it really has taught me like the 2 most important things are like perspective and gratitude. So it was like, my parents came from Taiwan. My mom married my dad, and he had gotten a full ride to Northwestern to get his PhD in electrical engineering.
Okay.
So he was coming to America. It was a big deal for in my mom's town that she was marrying someone that was getting his doctorate in America, big deal. And it's funny. So she came here to follow him. They had 3 girls, and then our family of 5. Out of our family of 5, 4 of us have had cancer, and then the 5th one died in a car accident. So literally the worst kind of luck ever. But when I talk to my mom, sometimes she'll be like, I'm so lucky, and I'm like, you're literally the most unlucky person I've literally ever met.
Right.
But it's amazing that she feels full of gratitude because she's puts things in perspective. So I have to say, any difficult time I've ever had, like my divorce or like health issues, I'm always like, you know what? I always kind of look to her, and I'm like, I have it much better than she does. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely have, I have a lot of support around me.
Do you think she'd see it that way as well? That you have it much better than she does?
Probably.
If her outlook is, pervaded with gratitude, maybe she doesn't see it that way.
Yeah, that's true. My dad and her were the only ones from each of their families to come to America.
Right.
So by the time she was 42, I always think about this, especially when I turned 42. So I was trying to have a baby. By the time she was turned 42, she had lost her husband. My dad died when I was 10. Then less than a month later, her mother had died back in Taiwan.
Yes.
I know. And then 8 months after my dad died, my sister died in a car accident in Taiwan.
Oof.
So within 8 months, at age 42, she had lost her husband, her mother, who she was extremely close to, and her firstborn. And to survive that, it's like, not even survive, just thrive,
Right.
And she had 2 more kids. She was alone in America. She had to raise these kids, like me and my sister.
Right.
She had to get us through college, and she worked multiple jobs.
And when the car accident happened, I'm just really grasping at the timeline here.
Yep.
You were living in the U.S.
I was living in the U.S.
And you were back in Taiwan on vacation.
That's right. Yeah,
Okay.
we were there because it was after my father passed away, probably 8 months or 7 months after my father passed away. And she just really missed her family. So, because they were all, so she took the 3 of us back. And it was 3 days before we were going to come back to the States, and we were in a terrible car accident.
Oof.
And I ended up being in the hospital for a month, and my sister was on life support for a while. And
Right.
then she passed away.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I want to ask this again in a slightly different way, if you don't mind.
Yep.
you said you think everything happens for a reason. And there's all these, and then you said all these miracles, medical miracles in your life.
Yep.
What do you think the reason might be that you have been the beneficiary of all these wonderful medical things?
I don't know. I've been the beneficiary, but I've also had a lot of like challenges. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they've kind of resulted out of like a lot of challenges.
Right.
It's so funny. I have like a couple lives that I've passed through already, where I should have been.
Right.
So my mom always says to me, you were definitely put on this earth to do something. I don't know what it is.
This is kind of my question.
Yeah. But she still says like, it hasn't happened yet. And I'm like in my mid 50s. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But also.
Which is fine, right?
Yeah, I guess. But especially getting this kidney, which is like a huge gift. I feel like it's made me think a lot about like what I want to do with my life and,
And you're a planner. And this is one thing I've learned.
Yeah.
You plan and you execute, and it
Yeah.
seems to go pretty well for you.
It does. Yeah.
So to this question, what do you want to do with your life? You must be planning something.
I'm not actually. I'm kind of waiting for the right thing to come around,
Okay.
which is why I told, like, when we were talking about this, this talk we were going to have, I was like, I don't want to focus too much on work. Like, work is important.
Right.
It's it doesn't define me. I feel like that's like the least interesting part about me. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
Yeah. Or the least interesting part about my life,
Right.
to me anyway,
What do you think is the most interesting part?
just really the challenges I've had in my life, that I've like,
They're noteworthy for sure.
well, not that they're interesting to other people, but they're the most interesting to me about myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I just, yeah. But I think it's more because I'm really thinking about what do I want to do? Like how can I give back? Like how can I use this gift that I've been given? With this
and you
kidney?
do give back. You're on
I do,
the board
yeah.
of
Yeah.
what is it, Culture Connect?
Culture
or
Connect,
something?
yeah.
And are you on other boards? And
I'm an ambassador for Cookies for Kids Cancer,
right.
which is a now I think international pediatric cancer.
And what's it called again?
Cookies for Kids Cancer.
Cookies for Kids. Kids is cancer.
Yeah.
Kids possessive.
Yeah.
And is the URL handy?
Oh, I don't have it, but
All right.
yeah.
Our crack producer is
Okay,
looking
good,
that up
good,
right
good.
now.
It's green logo with white lettering. I usually do a bake sale in Rhinebeck every September or October every year outside of Cinnamon. I didn't do it this past year because my health wasn't great, but I'm going to definitely do it this year.
A bake sale to raise money
Yeah.
for this nonprofit, which is
Yes.
called, again,
Cookies for Kids Cancer.
Cookies for Kids Cancer. And the URL is cookiesforkidscancer.org.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah.
Cookiesforkidscancer.org. And you got, because you had cancer when you were a kid.
Yeah.
When did you discover this organization? Decide
This
you
is
wanted
amazing, actually. So I was living in New York City still. I think it was, God, I don't remember what year. I've been involved for at least 10 years. Anyway, the founder, this woman named Gretchen, who's very formidable, she had their first huge bake sale at ICE, Institute of Culinary Education, on 23rd Street, between 6th and...
They're changing their name now, I'm sure.
Oh, no, I know. Oh, God, that's terrible. Yeah. So they had a big bake sale, and their goal was to bake 100,000 cookies.
Wow.
In like 24 hours. So I went to go volunteer. So one of my best friends, this woman, Allison, she said, I want you to meet the founder, because her son was still alive at the time. He was battling stage 4 neuroblastoma, which is what I had.
Right.
And she's like, I want her to meet you. So she introduced me to her. The first thing she said to me is like, is that your real hair? And I said, yeah. And she said, is that your real teeth? And I said, are those your real teeth? And I said, yeah. And she said, wow, I've seen so many people that have been pediatric cancer survivors.
Oh.
The treatments are toxic,
Right.
And they can't grow hair. Their teeth are messed up. Their spines are messed up. And trust me, I have my health issues.
And
but
for the radio audience, Lillian's got amazing teeth and great hair.
she's like, are they real? I'm like, they're real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. So she was like, wow. She goes, you didn't have stage 4. I said, I did. And she said, you didn't. She couldn't believe it.
Right.
And so, again, her son was still alive. And she said, can you get me the medical records?
Really?
I was actually waiting for my son to be born. The surrogate was pregnant. So I was kind of at home nesting. So I called, and this was so long ago. I grew up in Philly. It was at St. Christopher's Hospital for Children. That's where I was treated. It doesn't even exist anymore. It was kind of packaged up with CHOP, for University of Pennsylvania Children's Hospital.
Okay.
So now it's part of CHOP. But so I had to call the records department, and I put a reminder in my phone every week to call. And the woman was like, it was on microfiche. That's how old it was. So basically, she's like, it's on microfiche. And then basically, I called every week. I called this woman. I was always very friendly to her. And I said, I really need these records. It was like over 40 years ago now. So basically, I just said, it's really important that I get these records.
And why I'm not following, why was it so important?
Oh, because Gretchen wanted to see them. Because she wanted to see what kind my treatment was, because her son was still battling the neuroblastoma.
Oh, because Gretchen's son had this.
Yes.
And so she wanted a little bit of hope.
Yes.
I
So it took me about 3 months calling every week, because then she found the microfiche, but she said, the microfiche machine is broken because no one uses it, because, it's a microfiche. She said, but you've been calling me every week. I know it's really important to you. I'm going to go to my local library this Saturday and print them out, which is so nice. So basically, she sent me a packet of my records, which, at this time, it was over 40 years later. There's only like 6 pages. I think everything else was just like not copied or just lost.
Right.
But basically, my original diagnosis was there. So the tumor had originated in my adrenal gland. So neuroblastoma is officially cancer of your nervous system, but the tumor can originate anywhere.
You can't.
Yeah, it's a very common form of pediatric cancer, and actually pretty curable these days. Like over 40 years ago, I don't know if that was the case, but basically it originated in my adrenal gland and had metastasized to my liver by the time they found it at 6 months old. So my mom, there was the original diagnosis was there, the surgery was there, my original surgery was there, and then they had semi-protocol, so they were alternating two very common types of chemo, Cytoxan and vincristine. So they usually do like 5 cycles of Cytoxan followed by 5 cycles of vincristine. But what they did with me is they alternated it. So they did 1 cycle of one, then another, then a cycle of the other, then one, then the other, then one, the other. And my mom, as far as she can recall, she thinks the doctor said that was kind of the differentiating factor of alternating those 2 chemo treatments instead of giving 5 or 6 rounds of one and then 5 or 6 rounds of another. So
the differentiating factor that made you
or it's just a miracle.
5%.
Yeah. Or just, just luck.
Right. And Gretchen's boy, I'm almost afraid to ask.
He didn't make it.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't make
Oof.
it. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
So she got these results, and I didn't want to talk about it. It's
I know.
so sad.
It's so sad. I know.
But now you're helping this organization raise money in various ways, including this bake sale.
Yeah.
Is it just cookies?
Yeah, people do brownies. My friend Nicole does vegan always because she's vegan, which is nice. We have a vegan option. Some people do gluten-free stuff. We get Rice Krispie treats.
And what are your specialties?
Oh, none. Like slice and bake.
Oh, really?
Bake, yeah.
I get Pillsbury
I'm not
slice and bake.
domestic. I'm not a cook or a baker at all. No.
That's funny. So who cooks or bakes around your house? Does your boy cook?
No. I mean, he makes ramen. I mean, does he? No, nobody does. I mean, it's so sad. Well, my mom lives 2 blocks away, honestly.
Okay.
We eat with her a couple times a week because she's a good cook. But yeah, I don't enjoy it. I just don't.
And she was raised in Taiwan.
Yes. She was raised in Taiwan. Yeah.
So she probably cooks some really delicious, and for Americans anyway, exotic fare.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite dishes of hers?
Honestly, her chicken soup is amazing. She makes chicken soup with noodles. Sometimes she puts dumplings in it.
Right.
She's all around. Her dumplings are good. She makes scallion pancakes that are really good. I know. She's all around. Yeah, I think my son's getting a little pickier as he gets older. So there's only certain things he'll eat. Yeah, and sometimes, but I'll eat anything she cooks, really, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, she's a good cook. Yeah.
I love that. And was your dad a cook as well?
No, he just worked. He was just a worker. He worked and played tennis. So, yeah. Yeah.
And you work and play tennis?
I play pickleball now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I love pickleball.
You ditched tennis?
I ditched tennis. I wasn't that good at it, to be honest. And I don't know if I'm good at pickleball either, but it's like a little, but I haven't gotten back into it since my surgery. So I'll start next week.
And how is it different, pickleball?
Oh my gosh, it's
tennis?
so different. It's at the level I play at, I should say it's much easier. I'm like, I know people that are really advanced at it, but, the ball's lighter. It's a wiffle ball. So, and then the paddle's smaller, the court's smaller. And I play mostly doubles, so it's a little easier.
And
so,
where did you play?
Rhinebeck, Red Hook, and Satsburg. More like where don't I play? Yeah. So it's like different groups. Yeah.
I love that.
It's really fun socially, honestly. And, I play with like older crowd down at Satsburg. They're there like every day. I play with a younger crowd in Red Hook, and I play with like kind of my age folks in Rhinebeck. Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
I know. It's funny. And it's all different characters. It's super fun. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, good for you.
Thanks.
And what else do you do for recreation?
I love to
If you have any
travel.
spare time.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I love to travel.
You've been to like 35 countries
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. I did that a lot. I didn't get married till I was 35. I didn't
Okay.
have my son till I was 42. So,
That's helpful.
you know,
for traveling.
yeah, it was. And honestly, I did a lot of travel when I lived in London for a year and a half because it was so easy to just hop on a plane and in 2 hours you're like in, I don't know, one of 10 different countries, right?
Right,
So I did
right.
a lot of travel there. And I just always, even when I came back from, I think that experience really like opened me up to travel, you know? So then, and in between jobs, I would go to Asia because I'd have more time, you know? So I've been all over Asia. And you know, it's kind of, it's tough now because now that my son's older, I struggle with either going to more new places. I haven't been to South America yet. We only been to South America, but then I also want to take my son back to places that I really loved.
Right.
So I took him to Japan 2 years ago. He absolutely loved it. Took him to France, which I knew he would love. So it's kind of, it's great to see the places that
so
I love
sweet.
through his eyes, you know.
Right.
But I kind of struggle with that. But we did both go to Iceland together last year, which is a place neither of us have been. But
Right.
yeah, so I kind of struggle now because I like to travel with him also.
Right.
I struggle with, you know, taking him to places that I loved. Like Africa's another one I really want to take him to. And
Africa?
then, yeah.
And
yeah.
you've been to numerous countries in Africa.
Yeah, I did so after I left finance, I did 3 overseas volunteer trips at orphanages, one in Africa, one in Guatemala, and one in Vietnam.
Okay.
So, and it was a really great juxtaposition from being at Goldman Sachs, working in finance, thinking
Right.
my amazing life is just not enough, you know, because you're just caught up in this. There's a lot of money going around. There's
Right.
a lot of like,
So you left Goldman Sachs and you did that.
Yeah.
Sort of an antidote.
and I was like, whoa, like, who do I think I am? Like, this is what life is really about. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And how did that even get on your radar to volunteer at orphanages
that's
abroad?
a good question. It was really a way for me to stay, a way that I felt good about staying in a country for like, not just 7 to 10 days. Like I
Right.
wanted to spend a month.
Right.
And when I go to a different country, I like to do some tourism things, but I also really like to live the daily life. That's
Right.
really more than living a daily life. But I'd found this organization. My first trip was Africa. I'd found this organization, and it was really, I was mugged on the 3rd day I was there. Like, it was a very real experience. But I went to this first place. It was started by an American. It's so poor there. It was started by, no, it was a British tourist had gone there, was really touched by the orphanages that she visited and thought, it's, you know, it's very corrupt. I mean, it's government officials are very corrupt. So, because everybody's so poor. So basically, you know, so much aid goes to Africa. A lot of it is not used appropriately.
Right.
So she had gone and seen a bunch of orphanages that were just like terrible, terrible shape. So she was like, you know, and, you know, I'd gone to an art store over there. I was like, oh, I'm going to spend $100 and buy stuff to bring to the orphanage. I couldn't spend $100. I mean, I had 3 carts full and I couldn't even spend, like, everything is so cheap there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Comparatively. And so when you think about the billions of dollars of aid going there, and people still live in, you know, especially these orphanages are getting a lot of aid.
Right.
And some of them are in really terrible shape. So her thing was, I'm gonna raise money. I'm gonna sell my house in England. I'm gonna raise money. I'm gonna open the orphanage. And it was beautiful. The kids had uniforms. They had 3 meals a day. They were getting taught, you know, some level of schooling. They had a place to sleep. There were classrooms. It was beautiful and beautifully run because it was done the right way. Like, you know, the money was actually going to where,
Right.
you know, it was supposed to go. And I was there for a couple of days and it felt very sanitized. You know, it was a nice experience, but I was kind of playing with the kids, not really doing much. And so I went back to the organizer and I said, I feel like they have a lot of volunteers here already
Right.
and I'm not really doing much. And, you know, I think it's a little sanitized than what I was expecting. And he probably looked at me and thought, okay, I'll show you. So he took me to this place in the slums, which was very, very different. It was very, very poor. The kids had like stained mattresses on the floor covered by mosquito nets. They all lived in one room. They ate one meal a day. They had like latrines that were filled to the top with, you know, crap and maggots and just unusable pretty much. And it was a very different experience. And it was run by an African man who had some kids and his kids were living there actually. But it was a completely different experience. Like,
Right.
and that's like, okay, that's where I want to be. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to do. Like I want to dig
Right.
in and, but so I did that and it was incredible. It was fun.
And
Yeah, I had a great time.
Do you do any stuff like that with your kid?
Not yet, but I think it's getting to the age where we can, you know.
Right.
I would love to take him to Africa and do that actually.
It's a wonderful
Yeah.
example for
It was
a
the
parent
best.
to-
It was really, like, again, coming from that finance world and going
Right.
straight to that, I was like, God, like it was just so eye opening. I mean, I recommend it for anyone.
Right.
Yeah, and Guatemala was like different. A lot of the kids were HIV positive, and that was, yeah, that was interesting too. And then the one in Vietnam was outside of Ho Chi Minh, and they had failed to tell me this, but the kids had severe cerebral palsy. Some of them couldn't even feed themselves,
Right.
And some of them couldn't even sit up on their own or walk. Had to have their diapers changed and everything.
Right.
So that was a really, they were all very meaningful experiences.
Right.
And I love them. Yeah. It was
So
great.
you love finance. You did that.
Yeah.
How did you get up here?
Oh, that's a good question. So my
thank you.
ex-husband, my ex-husband was intrigued by a property that his friend from college had his family owned in Pine Plains.
Uh-huh.
It was this old. It was about. Is it 1,000? No, it's probably like 300 some acres, and it was the former location of a bootlegging operation run by a gangster named Dutch Schultz during the Prohibition.
Right.
So this gangster had come and set up underground, like there was like a bunkhouse, like a ranch house, and underneath, where under the floor, you would pick up this big door and go underground, and they had a whole full working distillery down there during the Prohibition. And so they had, people, they had 2 chimneys out of the house, and so people would drive by and think people were cooking, but they were actually underground cooking moonshine. So, so there were these there's an elaborate tunnel system, like one running to like one main road in Pine Plains and another one to the north, So basically,
So cool.
Yeah. So the family had known about it for many decades, and then my ex-husband saw it and was like, "This was like probably 12 years ago. There was maybe one distillery, Tuttletown, that was open, and he's like, this would be amazing. It's because alcohol is largely marketing, and
Right.
like, what better story? Because
Right.
this is has real Prohibition history. So we moved up here for that. We built a massive distillery. And then,
Wow.
and then,
in Pine Plains.
yeah,
And it's still there.
It's still there. We did not run it for very long. So we rented it out. We ran it for a couple of years, rented it out, and then now it's on the market. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It was not a successful venture.
On
It
the
was a
market.
great idea. But
Who's the listing agent?
Andrew Gates.
Oh,
Yes.
why
Yeah.
not you, for crying out loud?
Oh, trust me. No, I mean, no, we're divorced. It's like,
Gotcha.
I'm going to take my own advice, which
Say
is
no
leave
more.
it to a professional.
Right.
Don't get emotionally involved. Leave it to a professional.
So you
yeah.
moved up here. We got 1 minute left.
What? That
Yeah,
was so fast.
sorry.
I told you I could
Told
talk.
you'd go
I know.
fast.
I know.
How did you get into real estate?
Oh, I was always in sales. That was my thing.
Right.
And I love people. And I was
Right.
like, instead of selling financial products, I'll sell homes.
Uh-huh.
So,
And
yeah.
and you started at Gary Demoro?
Gary Tomorrow, 6 years. Then I
Uh-huh.
went with Rouse & Co. when they were starting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I was one of the beginner agents there to start the company.
Right.
And yeah, it's been great. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
And you're currently developing a plan for whatever the next chapter is.
Yes.
And you're currently healthy.
Currently healthy.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And what a fucking treat having you here. Just so much fun. Oh, wait. 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You play piano?
I do.
What's your best song to play? If you're showing off for somebody.
George Winston. He's a
Oh, really?
pianist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have his book and I love his stuff.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Canon in D.
Oh, really?
Pachelbel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Canon
famous
D.
from Ordinary People.
Yes, it
That
is.
movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, Lillian Lin,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being
Thanks.
here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you to producer extraordinaire Jen Hamoud and to Patricia Wend and the Epicurean for hosting us, the studio, and the show. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Have a great Friday night and a fabulous weekend. Thanks again, Lillian.